unbox those Spheros. I'll pass the mic to Chris.
The Sphero, I have the bolt, right? The bolt has this matrix on the top where I can kind of put stuff in, but if you don't have that, I'm not going to use it, but don't be afraid that mine doesn't look like yours. We're going to just look at the ball and how we can kind of play around with unboxing it. We have our little bolt. Now inside, when you pull these things out, you have, you get all your instructions. Gives you a quick setup guide and legal guide. All this we just don't need today. So away it goes. Now in the box, it's pretty basic. You have your Sphero, you have your connector, and you have your charging station. Plug it in, you put it on there. Charging is an issue. These things last about an hour. If you're using them pretty steady, maybe 45 minutes to an hour, and then they're kaput. So you have to kind of manage the charging apparatus of these things. One other thing is a reset button it has. When it's not working the way you want it to, put it on the base station and just press and hold that reset, and it kind of just puts its brain back in order. Sometimes if it's getting too much input, it starts to get a little wonky. This is your Sphero. These are a little, they're expensive, but they're super durable. I was telling Craig and Caro when we were planning this that I went up Chapeau, which is in the Western School Board, and I had kids playing with these, and they were flying them off 15 flights of stairs. And I mean, I didn't want them to do that, but they did, and they would survive. These are also waterproof as well, so you can put them in water, which is super fun because, well, we'll get to projects in a minute. It's completely sealed, so it's a sealed component. Now, your Spheros will be as well. The ollies, if you have, the ones with the 2 wheels, are not waterproof, but they are also very durable and they can go outside. You can bring these outside, but you kind of need to put a protective silicone seal you can put over it. I have another one for you as well. These ones are called the mini Spheros, and I really like these ones because they're cheap. They're only about 60, 70 bucks, right? So depending on how many kids you have in class, you're usually putting 2 or 3 kids per Sphero, which can be a little tricky. But what we'll do is I'm going to show you some techniques for these, because with these, you can kind of get more for the class, so you have more kids doing hands-on with them. Get into the app because the reveal hopefully is not disappointing, but you really got to plug them in and play with them to kind of get them do what you want to do. I hope you guys have downloaded Sphero EDU. Did you guys download that on your iPad? I want to show you just how to connect it. A couple of things on here that you need to be super aware of are the aiming and the pairing. Okay, now because it's Sphere, it needs to understand direction and aiming it, right? So what if I put it directly on the ground, what direction is it going to start in? Is it going to come towards me? Is it going to go away from me? Is it going to go right, left? So let's just look at the aiming of it, so that that is something that you're going to have to deal with the kids and show them how to do it. So once I get here, I have my Bluetooth on. Okay, make sure your Bluetooth is on because these connect via Bluetooth. And what I'm doing right now is I just selected program. All right, so I selected program. We're going to program it because they won't move without a program. There is a driving option, which I'm going to show you, but the driving option is good to start with, but then you got to migrate them over to playing around with the blocks a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit the plus sign down here on the bottoms because I want you to see the process. All right, so as soon as I click on that, it pops up and says, okay, well, why don't you give it a name? So I give it a name. You can see it's reading my voice. So I type a name in at the top. I select I want to do block programming. And then I scroll down and I can find my bolt and I'll select it. All right, so I've told it already, I want a block program and I want it with the Sphero bolt. That's mine. So if you have the Spark, choose the Spark. If you have the Mini, choose the Mini, etc. And I think the Spark in here is just the Sphero, your standard one. So go ahead and select that and then we'll hit create. I just want to show you the interface and how Robot connected to it. It happens right up here in the corner, all right? Right up here in the right corner is where you're going to be going a lot with kids. Hopefully you show them this, and we'll give you some resources that you can put up to show them. So First off, the middle button is the one I just want to check. So if I click on it, you should be able to see your Sphero. It should come up if the Bluetooth is on and you have it charged, and then I just have to select it, and then it's going to do its connection to it. I've connected to the Sphero, and you can see it lights up as soon as I turn it on, and it's ready to go. Now, this right here is just a driving app. So I can just drive it if I want to by moving it around. Jesus, easy boy. All right, so I can increase the speed. I can play around with the colors and stuff, right? Very basic. But the aim down here is where I want to bring your attention to. All right, now it's down here in the left corner now, but it is also up here in the right corner as well. So there's two ways you can get to it. The aiming is very, very simple. Once I click on the aim, you can see I get another readout here. And if I move this, you're going to see there's a blue light on the ball that moves with it. Again, I just clicked on up here on the aim, and then I get this. And what I want is I want that blue light to face me. You want it to face the programmer, okay? So if you put it on your table, I want to move that until it's facing me. The blue light faces me. And then I know if I go forward, it's going to go away from me. Blue light facing me. Choosing them, again, I just go into that robot up in the middle one at the top. And then those are your two big keys that need to play, that you need to be aware of. Craig, why don't you show us how to program to start these suckers? You give them a little tap.
Yeah, a little tap.
So once you tap it, it'll light up, and then it knows the app is ready to connect to it.
Let's look at a few things. I'm in the app again, and every time I go out, I'm going to have to pair the device, right? I'm going to have to choose my device right here. And I think we mentioned you guys have small groups, so it won't be an issue. If you had a large class with a lot of students and a lot of Spheros, there's you need to spread out a little bit because you'll be picking up other robots trying to pair with. So I'll pair mine. If I go back to the beginning, so you could see these three things right here, your home, your activities, and your programs. In the home area, there are a bunch of samples, and this might be a good place to look at existing code, kind of like a reverse engineering, because there's some pretty complex code. We could look at some of these and then work backwards to see why did they put those blocks there and what do those blocks do. Let's go to activities, the next icon right here. Sphero Activities. And I'll actually open one to show you what it looks like. So in Sphero, I'm going to go to, here's the block example right here, a beginner block. I'll just open that up and we'll view the steps. So it shows us all of the blocks that are available to us with a little description. So it's a little bit of a tutorial. I don't know how much time students are going to spend on this. They're just going to move the robot right away, right? They're not going to read all the literature about it, but. And I'll go back and let's look at the program piece, this one right here. So there I have a couple of programs already, and then that plus sign when we're starting a program, we'll jump right into there and I'll show you some of the features that are available, and then I'll come back and show you a program that I created just so you can see what it looks like. So the plus sign, new program, I'll close my keyboard. So these are all the other robots that we were talking about before. You could see the Ollie that was mentioned before. That's the one that's not waterproof. It has two wheels on it, and there's some more vehicle looking ones, but what we're talking about is the Sphero Mini, this one, and you guys have the one that's already selected for me, the Sphero or the Sphero Spark, that one. Choose the program type. We're in block programming. I'm on the Sphero. I will create. And there we go. We could see all the block possibilities down here, and it's just a scrub across. We're going to look at the movement block, certainly the lights, the sound, there's some control loops. So the canvas is a spot to put all your building blocks on, and only when we lock them together, I'll grab one, we'll grab this one, kind of like a puzzle piece, right? As I drag it together, then they'll click together. This is now a program, although I didn't indicate a start for it. To actually start my program, I'll have to go into events, and then I can choose a start for it, like on collision as an example. So when my Sphero collides with something, then it's going to execute this program. But back to the canvas, these blocks can be all over the place. It gets a little bit messy, but if you don't want it on your canvas, you see when I press and hold, the little garbage can appears at the bottom. And so don't worry about throwing things in the trash. It's just clearing it off the canvas. They'll still exist in your library. Your blocks will still be in the library, not a problem, even though you put some of this stuff into the trash bin like that. All right, so let's look at a program that I created just for fun. This is where they're remaining for me, my programs, which is fun. It'll stay on the iPad. You want to name them or get the students to name them as much as possible. Otherwise, you'll end up with 100 programs on your iPad that say Untitled, which is not of much use. If I want to get rid of that Untitled program, I click and select it, and I can use the trash bin to get rid of it, because there will be a lot of Untitled programs. But let's look at, so I selected a program I previously did this morning. I'll view the program, it'll open up for me. So this block right here, and I'm thinking about three things that are really important in moving this robot around: the direction of it, the speed that it's going to travel, and the time. So I'm going to play around with those things, and that's what I've done here. Aiming it again, the blue light, think of it as a tail, right? So that's the tail of the robot. Wherever you see the blue light, it's aimed. And then I was looking at motion and speed. And so when I click on